interracial marriage. I heard that there's a celebrity whereby the mother is Indonesian and the dad is German. So when she goes to school,
Mm-hmm.
she learns English. So at one point, she stopped talking because she was confused. Which language should she use?
Mm-hmm.
So they were worried. Like I think like about a year dia tak boleh cakap. So how does that? How does interracial punya marriage would like how does an interracial family encourage their child to like speak better, because at that age you can't force they for them to learn all languages, right,
Mm-hmm.
at one time.
But,
Okay, that's one. Yeah, that's one question.
but for me
And
kan,
then
teruslah bagi I,
mhm.
you have like mixed je lah, mixed marriage kan, and especially when your orang kata mother tongue to the dominant language that you use between the husband and wife tu memang jauh berbeza kan. So you, I mean the partner, the family, the parents tu, they have to decide on which language to dominantly use dekat rumah. Then and it has to be tally with the school system, sebab most of the time the children ni will spend their time dekat sekolah. So kalau English, English lah. Sebab itu akan because once anak itu dah ada foundation in that, so nanti because kemahiran the skills to learn the third language tu, it will come later. But the foundation of the main language tu, it needs to be fulfilled dulu lah, it needs to be strengthened dulu. Kan, tak ada masalah. Itu kalau kata anak yang have no problems ataupun fast learner, for example, like they grasp easily language. But this, the thing that you mentioned tadi, the difficulties tu pada anak, mungkin dia punya comprehension tu ada need extra effort as compared to other children kan. But my thoughts will be kena adapt the language that apa ni dominantly used di sekolah, and of course bila di sekolah, like for example German and apa tu English tadi sebut kan.
Oh
So
yes, doctor. Indonesian, English, and German.
Indonesian English, but somehow they, of course English, right, bila
Yeah,
hantar
yeah.
sekolah kan. So they need to discuss on the language, because benda tu adalah benda yang asas.
What
Ada
is it, doc?
actually, like ada one couple ni Spanish, and then pergi ke sekolah English kan. So rupanya anak dia develop this dyslexia and one of the comorbid with apa ni, one of the comorbid, I can't remember what diagnosis. But again, when they rule out, it's about dia punya grasping the language yang menjadi masalah kepada dia. Sebab bila kawan-kawan dia bercakap bahasa lain dekat rumah, dia bercakap lain, and then dia the etiology of they been nomad, berpindah randah tu. So those are the triggering factors lah that could apa tu influence dia punya difficulties ataupun any delay lah in him, right? Okay, Shua Zeyeng raised hand and say.
Yes. Yeah, doctor, this is an extended question from Atira's question.
Mm-hmm.
Considering, since let's say if the child has like is like a, the parents are of mixed race, so when they go to school and they start to notice that they are very different from their other friends, sebab mereka ni ialah mak dengan ayah different race and got him or her kan. So at this stage, children would usually, maybe they would get they would feel macam, kenapa, why some my friends are macam of this race, and why am I like different, I don't belong to any of them. So in this stage, what can like parents do to like guide the child properly on this, sebab kita tak nak dia rasa macam tersisih daripada the community lah. So what would be like the best approach for adults, especially parents, to guide them on looking at things in a different way when it comes to like race.
I confused. A difference in the sense of what?
Dia punya race, like let's say like the mom's Indian and the dad is Chinese, so you'll get like a Chindian punya baby.
Okay, that is when the explanation kena explain betul-betul kan, and it's we need to reassure, we need to give that discomfort. So macam ni lah, maknanya kalau I explain marriage, I mean like why maybe because it involve juga like stereotype towards the yang usually being called name dan sebagainya kan. But as a parents ni, dia kena explain mungkin the genetic ataupun keturunan mami macam ni, and then this is when I meet daddy and daddy pula macam ni, so this is how the process of human being made, and this is the production kan. So it's okay for you to macam apa ni to feel kata like if you are, meaning that your question would be kalau kata dia dapat the dominant trait of anyone, any of the parents yang not favor ke macam tu?
Yes, something like that. Which means like sampaikan dia terasa the friends around him pun macam look at the that child in a different way lah, because he neither belongs to like any of the dominant group like that.
The dominant group meaning from the parents?
Sebab dia nampak mungkin nak kata dia Chinese, not completely Chinese, and not Indian, completely Indian. So the friends will somehow be like, it seems like you don't belong to any one of the group. So at this stage, the child would usually have their own thoughts, and they might start to wonder what is wrong.
Kebat juga soalan ni, tapi kalau I kata this is the thing, and the God has created all of us, so we never know, kita tak tahu kan, it's God's tinggi lah kan. So by right kalau tahu you are memang definitely your belongs to your mom and dad, why like I mean like the questions of being make, I mean like people make fun of you, people laugh at you, people question tu, you akan tahu bila mana your family or your parents explains well, and you are sure that walaupun I ni lain, tapi I am a daughter to my parents and dad. So dia sendirilah kena kata okay, and of course parents kena selalu keep on, don't worry, it's just it's kena pujuk lah, macam reassure that okay memang betul. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be like rasa macam low self esteem dan sebagainya kan.
Doktor,
Yes.
macam adik saya, dia he's a little bit darker skin than compared to my mom and myself. He actually macam ikut my dad lah, tapi dia gelap sikit lagi daripada my dad. So memang growing up, he always question, and he was always make fun of dekat sekolah masa tu. For some reason, semua orang selalu gelakkan dia, cakap dia dark skin apa semua kan. But all of us selalu cakap macam benda tu is normal, it's okay. And then we taught him like comeback, say what to say when people say stuff like that. And then kalau tak silap baru ni pun ada Fin Jamal posted about this juga, kalau doktor follow Fin Jamal, about kan dia kan adopt anak dia, and the second one, the girl tu at what, she's like what 3, 4, and then she started asking macam mami kenapa mami white, adik black, dia cakap macam tu. Lepas tu mak dia macam what do you mean kan. Lepas tu dia kata adik nak white, dia cakap macam tu. Dia kata dia nak sama skin dengan mak dia. And then the mother macam tapi macam mana, dia kata no it's okay, daddy pun macam dark skin juga kan, so it's okay. And dia cakap no dia nak white juga. Lepas tu dia kata okay, what is mommy's favourite colour? Lepas tu dia cakap dia kata black. So then dia macam feel better macam tu. So it's nice to see different approaches and how people answer these questions kat budak-budak kan.
We tackle the questions, we accommodate the emotional fragile of this child. Kalau kita just biarkan, itu yang jadi meleret kan. So we try to accommodate and answers to every dia punya concerns ataupun dia rasa macam tak best, kenapa dan sebagainya kan. Dan I rasa bila kita keep on repeating, keep on kata macam you kan, Iliani dia kata kat adik you is okay ni kan. So prepare him to accept and to ready to face all this. After all, memang budak-budak suka musik, suka mengejek dan sebagainya kan. So maknanya kita kena cari jalan lah untuk
I think doktor, it's parents, it comes back to the parents. Kalau parents tu sendiri yang judge people from kan killing cakap macam tu, then dia akan rasa macam oh this is something. But for me myself, I tak pernah pun cakap kat Musa macam oh this person is what race and what colour and what. I've never mention langsung dekat dia. So there was this, so to him it's just skin colour. So dia pernah pergi dekat depan rumah, I ada a neighbour, Indian neighbour yang baik dengan Musa. Lepas tu dia tengok macam oh you are brown skin, I am beige skin. To some people it might sound macam very insensitive kan, but to him it's just skin colour. And then he will macam mention daddy is brown, Umi dia special sikit, Umi is golden dia kata. But he doesn't understand what that means.
At least that is how children learn. Dia nampak benda yang memang obvious, macam benda depan mata tu, so dia akan bercakap. Tapi bagaimana kita nak comfortkan balik lah anak tu kan. Macam I bila balik kan, bila even I balik UK pun, I masuk sekolah agama kan, I balik UK ni, I cerita kat UK dulu orang nak Mak Salleh nak cuba French kiss, I lah macam-macam nak buat tarik tudung semua. So bila balik sekolah agama, I balik apa tak, nama I kan Hilwa Abdullah alias mana, I selalu orang tanya, budak Mak Salleh tu convert Islam ke? Itu yang I selalu guna kan. Kata budak dia panggil I Minah Saleh tu, budak tu dalam masuk, lepas tu terus macam agaknya ada kabel kat apa, tak tahu macam mana I boleh masuk, tiba-tiba that kind of thing. So macam mana kita nak berdepan kan. And then after kita go along, we do whatever we do, whatever we need to do. Orang akan cakap ni kan. Lagi kalau mungkin kita nampak terselah ke, nampak cikgu selalu panggil ke, tapi yang penting kita tahu apa kita buat. So nanti lama-lama orang diamlah. But macam mana kita nak instill, nak pupuk rasa pengajaran itu kepada anak-anak daripada kecil. Macam ayah kata tak apa, I senang je kalau anak ayah kata kalau orang buat dia is okay, but kita jangan buat orang balik. Daripada kecil kita ajar macam tu kan. Itu satu lagi. But bila kita jumpa orang, nampak orang, kita jangan dengan husband ataupun dengan spouse kita tengok orang tu tak apa-apa depan anak. No, please don't. It's not a good practice, because anak akan copy, anak akan listen, anak akan grab message itu, dan akan sama bila keluar in another setting dia akan cakap macam tu. Sebab dia tak tahu sebenarnya benda tu salah, tetapi dia copy and parrot from the parents. Sebab tu kita ni bila kahwin especially bila you ada anak tu, nak buat apa-apa tu kena careful, nak cakap apa-apa, nak comment on other people, for example on the road. So kita berjumpa dengan orang sebagainya, semua kena berhati-hati. Even kita nak meluahkan something pun pada spouse kan, nak cerita mungkin pasal colleagues, pasal boss, pasal this environment is not healthy, so kena guna bahasa-bahasa yang elok lah. Tapi sebenarnya kita nak show that kita sebenarnya frust, kita penat. We do this like orang macam ni kan. So but then macam mana kita nak say in a good words, especially when we have kids. Cabaran saya lah, kalau cakap sikit nanti anak pick up. Especially kalau mungkin the B words, the F words sometimes bila kalau kata ni kan. Tapi we have to be careful. Sama juga macam tu lah. Okay, saya rasa untuk tu kita tangguhkan dulu. Okay, Mazatul Syifa dah lama angkat tangan tadi. Ya, Syifa? Penat you angkat tangan, turunkan tangan balik. Ya, Syifa. Syifa tak dengar lah.
Saya rasa.
Tak dengar tu. Kalau tak dengar you type lah ni I bagi type. Musa dengar lecture I. Ni kena sign borang ni. Borang kebenaran masuk kuliah SKPX ni.
Siap tulis lagi atas paper.
Okay. Nanti Musa yang ajar tu Musa draw I love to train my kids, whatever they heard, they draw. That is another skill. Kan? It's not right. It's draw. Use your imagination, it's good. Sebab I'm a drawing person. Saya suka draw. Okay. Shifa, you can just type. Meanwhile, I buka another slide So bolehlah kita coffee break sekejap. Yeah, 2 minutes guys. Doktor Mari. Terima kasih Nadia. Kan kalau tak kering dekat saya. Okay. So next chapter will be still on infancy, on socio-emotional development. Okay. Alright. So dalam umur ni, kalau ikut mana-mana teori psikososial yang you tahu, apakah elemen yang dikembangkan pada tahap ini? Boleh namakan teori yang anda tahu dan juga apakah yang apa tu yang ada pada teori itu dalam perkembangan pada tahap ini. Tak ingat? Oh ni kan memang puasa bersungguh betul lah. Okay. So, what are these?
Feelings.
Feelings. Good. Bila feelings, dia berkait dengan
Emotions.
Okay, alright. So talking about this anak saya sekarang suka, okay mama ini baju ko? So kita jawab koyak, bukan kotor. So dia start to play this kind of language. So interactive lah. So it's how you make it fun. Right. So sekarang ni ajar dia konsep besi, kaca, plastik. So dia akan tanya, dia akan ambil ni apa? Plus. Saya cakap lah kan, plastik. Marah dia, plastik. Okay. Anyway, all right. So you just imagine your life without all this, without emotions, how it could be. That's why you kata dia ni very emotionless lah. Macam tak ada macam expression langsung lah. Happy pun tak nampak happy, sedih pun macam tu kan. Right. So life would be like, saya pun tak tahu. So in life, we need all this to make us a person, a good person indeed. In fact, we need happiness, we need sadness juga. Kan tak boleh sepanjang masa sedih ke. So what is the orang kata roller coaster in your life? What is your push factor to keep on pushing yourself to the limit? Macam itulah. So we need all this fear, sadness, strength, powerful kan. So those are of course indeed feelings or emotions. Feeling surprise. Talking about surprise pagi tadi. Saya terkejut lepas je we all solat subuh. Dapat WhatsApp student saya, mana yang post, baca post saya tu ada tahulah. Student saya Terence. Okay. Okay, boleh. So dia WhatsApp saya, bayangkan pukul 6 pagi, 6 lebih. Tak apa, saya bangun je. Dia nampak, aduh sakit lah. Okay, so bayangkan 6:15 dia WhatsApp, dia kata, doktor ada dekat, dia bagi tahu lah salam Ramadan dulu semua, doktor ada dekat rumah. Ada dekat UKM pagi ni. I cakap, oh I dekat rumah, I work from home. So work from home, dia kata, oh okay doktor ada pagi ni, doktor di mana? Sebab I cakap lah, I di rumah I lah, section 7. Oh, okay, nanti I datang. I cakap, I ada kelas. Kata kan, I nak cakap kalau ada kelas nanti my mate, you jumpalah my mate, my kids. So sekali dia kata, 6:45 I keluar hantar my kids to school. So dia kata ETA 7:06. So I was like, wish, awal sangat pagi ni dah sampai kan. So tiba-tiba dia message, dia dah dekat, I cakap mak I kat JPJ. Dia kata dia ambil gambar JPJ, nanti tolong send address. So I pun bagi address, bagi location. Tak lama lepas tu nasib baik I dah siap mandi semua. Mandi, turun. Tengok dia datang, Terence. Okay, he's a Chinese. And this boy, I still remember my student ni, life was not smooth sailing for him. Okay. He failed one subject and then repeat with me. Failed pada subjek orang lain. Tapi kebetulan pada waktu dia nak repeat tu, saya ambil subjek tu, abnormal psychology. That was the time yang we all first time buat mental health awareness day. It was a good memory lah for my students yang graduate tahun ni. Tu batch yang tu lah yang sempat ambil abnormal psychology. I diberi peluang ajar tu sekali je. Lepas tu dia I mean like he thanked me so much lah because akhirnya dia dapat. I cakap, I pun tak nak. I thought you all have a bright future. So and then he contacted me just before convo. Dia beritahu lah all this, thank you for motivating blah 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 blah. So dia kata I am now pursuing my MBA di Graduate School of Business UKM. I was like, wow. Kan? I mean like you with psychology and you're doing like this business. It's how you carve your life. So it means that it doesn't mean that waktu study tu you kalau macam mana pun you akan bangkit balik. You akan bangkit partly is because you thank all these turbulences. Tu maksud saya. So tiba-tiba datang pagi tadi, I terkejut, sangat terkejut. Rupanya dia bagi I kurma ajwa. Kotak, cantik. Very nampak eksklusif. From a Chinese student, kita tak terfikir. I didn't expect anything. Bukan, tak ada apa-apa. Kita ajar semua student ajar ni, tapi bila datang situ, and then bagi, lepas tu dia tanya I, doktor ini kurma paling bagus kan? I tak tengok apa lagi. I cakap, oh ni ajwa. I cakap ni kurma Nabi. I explain. Oh betul lah, I tak tersalah pilih. Dia cakap, so definitely you tak tersalah pilih Terence. Rumah I pun you tak sesat. Memang you tahu kan, you know what you doing. So dia bekerja sekarang dengan one of the company Roshamno. So he is one of the sekarang ni a PA to CEO lah. So meaning you know all this. Macam mana ini sampingan lah. Dia tak berkait dengan anak-anak. Tapi saya suka menceritakan, suka menyelitkan lah cerita-cerita macam ni. So kemudian okay lah dia balik. Dia nak pergi UKM, dia ada kelas. So maknanya awal pagi dia ingat and everything. So so my day it's like it started off with the surprise. Not only I surprise, my husband pun terkejut. My kids pun bila I turun pakai jubah, I pakai jubah putih ni lah. Mama nak pergi mana kan? Mama kan work from home, work at home. So macam tak rela nak melepaskan mama dia pergi office. But all of these feelings kan, I pun pusing-pusing sikit. So you just imagine this, I mean without all this kan, how would be your life lah, macam tak ada excitement, tak ada drive yang you like every day you bangun you nak buat apa. Sama juga macam anak-anak kan, lagi-lagi infant. Of course when you talk about infants lah, crying, tidur dan sebagainya, but makin dia besar, all this petting, all this pelukan, all this cubitan yang geramnya, comelnya, good boy anak mama kan. Kan lepas tu encourage dia, engage dengan play, start to feed them kan. Lepas tu mandi tu macam-macam benda yang kita boleh explore. Even during bath time pun very interesting, whereby you shower, you bathkan dia, bubble. So banyak communications, banyak a lot of emotions that can be instilled pada anak-anak itu. Alright. So it is very important, okay, when we keep on menyuburkan perkembangan emosi anak-anak. So emotions again is the feeling or affect. Okay, how would you feel that if you do something like even though it's not a big thing, but you do something and not being appreciated by people around you, not being acknowledged. You rasa frust, betul tak? Tipulah kalau kata tak frust kan? Walaupun kita ikhlas macam tu, at least some wise word pun dah buat kita macam macam tu. So it brings another dimension of us actually. Okay? So emotions, apatah lagi kanak-kanak, plays an important role in communication. Indeed, from playing, it banyak sangat emotions. So and also behavioral organization. So in communications through emotions, infants communicate. Ni lah waktu macam-macam communicate important aspects of their life such as joy, sadness, interest and fears with others. And in terms of behavioral organizations pula, emotions influence infants' social responses and adaptive behavior as they interact with others in their world. So often classified as positive or negative, and emotions has biological, cognitive and environmental influences. Okay, so in terms of emotional development and coping with stress are influenced by whether caregivers have maltreated or neglected children and whether or not children's caregivers are depressed. Semua ini sebenarnya dia berkait kan. Bagaimana kita nak ensure dan anak kita mempunyai perkembangan emosi yang baik. Okay, kita nak anak tu develop a good emotion, but at the same time at house segala tsunami ada. So definitely anak itu tidak akan boleh berkembang baik secara emosi. Kan? Definitely akan terkesan dengan apa yang sama-sama dilalui dalam suasana yang genting dekat rumah. Kan? Sama ada anak itu being maltreated ataupun being neglected, diabaikan. Alright? And social relationships so provide the setting for the development for each of a rich variety of emotions. Social relationship. So when toddlers hear their parents quarrelling, so they often react with distress and inhibit their play. Cuba buat eksperimen. Cuba kalau you all bergaduh. Nantilah bila dah kahwin nanti even gaduh yang real, selalu gaduh yang gaduh main-main ni dia tak jadi gaduh betul. Dia jadi gaduh lain nanti. So kalau kata real one dalam keadaan tegang. So anak itu dia nak tunjukkan dia pun faham is when by dia akan protes. Dia akan tantrum. Because suasana tu sangat-sangat tegang. It's a way that they say that stop it. Could you please adults stop all this nonsense? Nak cakap macam tu sebenarnya. Tapi dia tunjukkan melalui gerak bahasa ataupun gerak badan yang macam ni. Right? So well-functioning families make each other laugh and may develop a light mood to diffuse conflicts. So we try. That's why laughter is the best medicine. kan. Tapi saya faham ada juga orang susah nak gelak, ada orang susah nak senyum kan, ada orang dia buat lawak kelakar pun dia susah nak gelak kan. Itu dah mungkin personality dia macam tu, ataupun dia mungkin ragu-ragu nak gelak kan, ataupun kalau dia gelak kau kata aku ni tak betul, that kind of perception. So kita kena betulkan mana yang tak betul. So basically I do agree, if you laugh more often between you and spouse, dengan anak-anak, dengan kalau dia mate dengan mate kan, you make jokes and then you share stories. So insyaAllah those are the factors that will somehow diffuse the conflicts. Mungkin daripada nak jadi ketegang, mungkin kita bukan bila nak gaduh tu terus kita gelak. Jangan macam tu, orang kata gila. Tapi maybe we try to make another joke pada orang lain. Kita bukan the person yang kita tengah deal tu. So somehow dia akan diffuse the tightness, conflicts lah dalam environment tu like macam mungkin contoh senario kalau pergi makan lah kan, bila makan bayangkan kalau kata bayangkanlah keluarga saya kan anak ramai. So bila kita nak pergi makan, usually I akan book, ataupun kalau book, kalau kedai tu boleh terima order, I akan order terus. Sebab I nak cut down, nak cut short all this all this chaotic dan sebagainya kan. Sebab kadang bila anak ramai, kita pun kadang tend to snap cepat kalau mungkin dia because all of this kan. So bila masa rasa macam tegang sikit and anak-anak makin besar, kadang ada benda yang you tak boleh buat macam ni sebenarnya. So but bila kita berdepan dengan suasana macam tu, mungkin either us ataupun either the wife ataupun the husband yang akan snap, yang akan tak boleh nak control anger, so that and then juga dia boleh snap. So what we did, usually the partner lah akan stabilize, akan distract daripada kita fokus pada benda tu. Kita akan cakap, sekejap, tahu tak semalam selalu I lah akan jadi macam tu. Mama, tahu tak mama jumpa orang macam ni. So tak jadi konflik. So that is the technique kan. Sebab kalau tak mungkin yang the subject matter tu akan menjadi fokus kepada all these turbulences. So ni bayangkan setting dekat luar ni. And yes, we have to face that issue actually, but buat kat rumah. Kita confront anak tu kat rumah, for example. So why did you do this? Why did you do such thing? Okay, kenapa macam ni? So kita confront dengan dia. Okay, bukan dekat setting dekat luar. Sebab after all nanti orang akan nampak family ni dia punya ketidakfungsian. Maknanya dari segi ni ability to be patient, tu ni kan macam-macam. Bila kita snap, kadang kita tak sedar kita snap. Sekejap kan, alright. So panjang pula saya cakap. Okay, early emotions. So these are the thing again. It's a repetition. So primary emotions present in humans and other animals. So appear in first 6 months of life. Tengok gambar ni apa, kan? Mana yang macam clueless kan sampai sekarang, mana yang dah tengok gambar fear tu dah week 4. I lah pagi tadi, ya Allah dah week 4 macam tu. Sebab ada satu hutang lagi assignment tak buat lagi kan, tak bagi dekat you kan. So itulah gambar yang fear tu menggambarkan apa yang I rasa sekarang. So example, surprise, anger, joy, sadness, fear and disgust. Okay, surprise pagi tadi pun you juga. So self-conscious emotions will require self-awareness, right? So it will appear after 18 months. So an examples, embarrassment. So that is when kalau toilet train, kalau terkucil ke kan, kalau terus kena marah dengan mak ayah, dengan pembantu ke, dengan sesiapa, atuk nenek ke, dia akan develop malu kan, develop low self-esteem. So because dia dah terbentuk all these self-conscious emotions between setahun setengah. And then rasa bangga bila dia dapat buat, kita puji, wah kan. So benda tu yang kita pupuk, tapi kena di landasan yang betul. And then bila dia buat salah, kita bantu guide dia kan. Kita jangan hukum dia terus. And then let them explain, bagi ruang kepada mereka untuk nak terima apa yang dia dah lalui. Mungkin kegagalan ataupun ketidakmenjadian dia buat sesuatu mainan kan, dia akan datang frust. So explain, it's okay kan. So and guilt. So researchers debate how early various emotions appear, such as jealousy, and in what sequence some researchers argue. Alright. Okay, so emotional expression and social relationships. So emotional expressions are involved in infants' first relationship. Okay, expression. So dia vice versa, the two way. So the ability of infants to communicate emotions sangat penting untuk kita berkomunikasi dengan penuh emosi. Bukan penuh emosi yang kau ni emosi lah, tak, bukan, maknanya dengan penuh emosi yang sesuai. So because dia dapat menyampaikan apa saja intentions, coordinate interactions with the caregivers. Kita tahu, oh dia ni nak apa, dia ni okay, dia nak macam ni. So that's why we need to have all this full of emotions. Pada emotions yang sesuai, pada tempat yang sesuai. And at the beginning of an emotional bond between them. So not only do parents change their emotional expressions in response to infants' emotional expressions, but anak-anak ni juga modify dia orang punya emotional expression in response to their parents' emotional expression. Jangan kita ingat kita hanya memberi saja, but anak itu dia akan take it and akan try to modify according to dia punya needs and demands pada waktu itu. So the interactions are mutually regulated, so reciprocal and synchronous. Kalau mak tu happy, anak tu sambut, maka anak tu akan membuat perkara yang happy, right? So sensitive and responsive parents help their infants grow emotionally, whether their infants respond in distress or happy ways. Sensitif bukannya mak bapak yang sensitif, mak bapak yang mempunyai concern yang tinggi. So anak tu mungkin bila dia sedih kan, bila dia nampak tak happy, try cepat kata mama nampak tak happy, adik okay kan, abang okay, kenapa macam ni, what happened, apa dekat sekolah hari ni. So bercerita. So recent study revealed that parents' elicitation of talk about emotions with toddlers was associated with the toddlers sharing and helping behavior. So this is true. When we talk with our children, kan, kita boost up dia punya communication definitely, and also dia punya emotional development, and then we teach them emotional regulation. Alright, itu sangat-sangat penting. Okay. So this one, crying is most of the important. Saya ulang balik Okay. Most important mechanism newborns have for communication. So the first cry verifies that the baby's lungs have filled with air. Sebab tu pentingnya kalau baby tu keluar, dia keluar je dari perut, kan? Dia terus nangis dari perut ke dari normal delivery ke, dia terus nangis. Maknanya a good indicator, it shows that the baby lungs have filled with air. Ada kawan saya yang anak dia tak menangis, after some time hantar ke ICU baru ditepuk baru nangis. So babies have at least 3 types of cries, kan? So yang pertama, basic cry. So a rhythmic pattern often associated with hunger. Dia ni baru je minum dah nangis balik lapar. Okay, so nangis je yang boleh diterima. So angry cry, a variation of the basic cry. So ada dia punya pattern with more air force through the vocal cord. So mungkin keras sikit bunyi dia, right? And then pain cry, a long initial cry, a loud cry followed by breath holding. Kadang dia nangis, saya pernah tengok baby nangis sesak kan, sampai dah biru, lepas tu baru dia lepas. Memang in pain sangat lah. Okay, so anda masih ada adapt yang jenis tangisan yang mana? Kita ada lagi lah, banyak-banyak lagi jenis tangisan. Tangisan kedukaan, tangisan kejayaan nanti tahun depan kan. Right, so kita tengok kejap. Oh, cannot play media. Okay, ini adalah actually waktu saya melahirkan anak bongsu saya, di mana masa ni saya paling sakit sampai dah rasa saya dah tak nak, dah cukup dah. So, okay. Smiling. Okay, smile everyone. Kita jangan ambil gambar, jangan hanya kita smile bila ambil gambar. Even dah suruh smile ambil gambar pun kita susah nak smile. So kena check right? Yang unik sekarang ni bila kita pakai mask, ambil gambar pun kita smile kan. So when we smile, even though kita tak nampak dalam gambar tu sebab kita pakai mask, but it influence our emotions, our reaction, our personality. Jangan ambil smile. Dr. Irwa smile, kita punya distress, betul tak? I stress, betul. Kan Dr. Irwa smile lagi? Apa you rasa? Kan? last week, saya started off, memang I admit, saya started not in a good mood because of the attendance. I was so frustrated. Apa you rasa emotions tu? Ke tak kisahlah Dr. Irwan, dia tak marah-marah kejap je. Kan? Penting Maknanya those are the emotional expressions. And if you don't express yourself in a good way, it might affect you. Definitely, it might affect other people yang berdekat, yang berhampiran dengan kita.
Rasa surprise doktor tak pernah marah.
Dia baru kena I kejap. I masih ingat batch mana yang I marah. Not all batch. Batch yang I baru marah adalah batch yang baru grad tahun ni. I ingat lagi. First time personality, I'm so pissed off. Maknanya I ingat every batch yang grad ni, okay ni. Tapi I jarang marah. So janganlah buat I marah lagi ya. Tak adalah. We are humans Okay. Smiling is a key of social signal. Reflexive smile. Orang kata kan bila 4 bulan, 4 minggu kan, first smile dia ataupun few days smile. So bila dia buat 4 months tu baru senyuman dia penuh makna. Maknanya dia senyum tu dia tahu dia senyum untuk apa. Before that memang senyum orang kata kalau Melayu tu apa, culture kita agak temuning agak something. Dia ada terms dia. Susah saya bagi kuliah dengan orang muda ni, sama ke laut je kita semua. So reflexive smiles occurs in the first month and it's not a response to external stimuli. Maknanya kalau tak ada orang agak dia pun senyum. Kadang tak ada orang lalu pun tiba-tiba dia senyum. Itu careful Kalau kita nampak tak ada orang tu, tiba-tiba dia senyum, jangan kata mistake. Itu adalah reflexive smile, alright? So social smiles are a response to external stimuli such as faces occurring as early as 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so senyumlah kita semua. So fear is one of a baby's earliest emotion. Dia takut ditinggalkan, takut bekalan susu dia tak ada. So fear, okay, it's the antara expressions yang commonly associated with babies. So typically first appearing at about 6 months. So rasa abuse, neglected infants show it much earlier. So stranger anxiety develops fear and wariness of strangers. So intense from 9 to 12 months, but it's not shown by all babies. It depends on the exposure and experience ataupun the detachment of the baby and the parents. Itu bergantung. So intensity is affected by the social context and the characteristics of strangers. So separation protest, so distress at being separated from the caregiver. So occurs at 7 to 8 months and peaks at about 15 months. Setahun. Hampir setahun setengah lah. Okay. So
Doktor, sorry nak tanya pasal yang fear tadi tu.
Right, apa dia?
Dia kata okay, stranger anxiety kan, meaning dia takut dengan orang yang baru yang dia tak kenal.
Yes.
But what if fear tu yang biasa yang macam kalau dia abused by mak atau bapa sendiri, adakah dia still akan takut pada stranger atau dia takut pada like man or just the mother ke apa macam tu?
Oh tak, usually because the dominant caregiver tu dah apa tu provide that kind of fear, so somehow dia akan associated dengan environment lah. Dia akan develop that fear kepada dia punya environment because dia perceive the message, dekat the message that the environment is not safe. Sebab tu kalau katakan berbalik kepada teori Erik Erikson kan, the trust versus mistrust. So if you don't develop the trust awal lagi, so you tak percaya yang persekitaran you adalah selamat. So
But towards the parent tu itself, okay.
Towards the parents, it depends. Kalau kata ada, bayangkan ni this is baby Of course kalau kata abuse pun, tapi waktu kehendak dipenuhi, maknanya keperluan dia, bukan kehendak, keperluan dia nak penuh. Mungkin dalam keadaan marah pun dia tetap bagi. Faham tak? Tapi bayi tu akan rasa tak selamat. Tapi somehow dia kena compensate dengan keperluan dia nak minum susu. Sama bila dah minum susu, keperluan dah dipenuhi, somehow dia macam try to compensate. Tapi itu dia kata hubungan itu sangat tidak sihat, sangat tidak bagus. So lama-lama bila dipupuk, lama-lama ataupun all the time, mungkin apabila di neglect ataupun di abuse lah, physical abuse kan, ataupun socially abused, emotionally abused, tak physical pun kita herdik ke kat budak tu kan, somehow dia akan affect lah. Dia akan create this anxiety kepada anak itu, apatah lagi bila dia keluar. Sebab dia tahu, dia perceive dunia ni tak selamat bagi dia. Kan? Melainkan dia jumpa figure yang, even figure yang dapat bantu dia akhirnya pun, awal-awal pun dia akan develop this anxiety. But how do that figure membantu dia dalam mengembalikan balik rasa selamat itu, tu penting.
Right. Okay. Faham. Dia macam like kidnapper punya relationship kan. They feed you, tapi they abuse you at the same time. So you sort of somehow feel an attachment towards the kidnapper. Beauty and the Beast punya style ni. Okay, faham.
Attached to because you need your demands to be fulfilled. You nak susu, kan? Betul tak? And then being mom, unless kalau tak tahulah berapa persen of mak yang sampai hati dia tak fit langsung. Alright. So berbalik kepada mungkin lagi-lagi emotion lah, balik kepada depression, postpartum kan, ada yang tak biar je anak menangis, tak nak dengar, tapi sampai satu tahap dia tak nak dengar anak dia, dia tak nak tengok anak dia, tapi sampai satu tahap dia buat juga susu sebab dia dah tahu anak dia dah menangis sangat lama, berjam-jam. Tapi sama macam di mak pun buat juga, walaupun macam because of dia punya mental health dia not that well, tapi lama-lama kelamaan itu yang akan affect tu. Okay, right. Okay, next one is emotional regulation. Ini sangat-sangat penting ya, anak-anak semua. So what is emotional regulation? Kalau saya boleh share nanti kan dengan anda semua during my talk with PERPIAS, Persatuan Mahasiswa Selangor. So they give me a topic on emotional regulation. So it is a very good topic indeed, whereby it is applicable not only to infant, to kids, but also to all of us and in the future. So kalau I boleh share nanti, I bagi you because it's in a podcast form and I dah detail out tentang what is emotional regulation all about. Right? Nanti I try to share lah dalam Telegram. Okay, sebab bila sentuh tentang student sekarang kan, you need all this, you need these skills to regulate your emotional accordingly. Penting ni, skill yang penting. So what is emotional regulation? It's the ability to monitor, okay, kita tahu, kita rasa, and to adjust an emotional response to the environment in order to reach a goal. Pendek kata, kalau kita berdepan dengan suatu tekanan kan, suatu keadaan yang orang horn you, macam mana you nak stay calm? That is emotional regulation. Adakah semua jari you tunjuk? Adakah you horn? Ni bulan puasa tak baik tapi macam tu lah. So you need to stay calm. Kalau tu keep calm. Poster tu you ingatlah, lekatkanlah kat kepala you tu. That is by definition the emotional regulation. So during the first year, sangat-sangat penting. Daripada awal mungkin baby tu, bila dia tahu nangis terus dapat susu, terus dapat tension. But throughout first year, during the first year, macam mana kita nak ajar anak? Jangan bila nak susu je terus menangis. Kan? So boleh terus menangis, kita terus accommodate. Tu salah. So kita kena ajar juga this how to regulate. Sabar kan, jangan menangis dan sebagainya. Bagaimana? Right? So during the first year, the infant gradually develops an ability to inhibit or minimize the intensity and duration of emotional reactions. For example, self-soothing, kan? Dia rasa macam ni je, dia punya coping mechanism dia, kan? So redirected attention and self-distraction later in infancy. So by 2 years, toddlers can use language to define their feeling states and the context that is upsetting them. Saya takut, saya marah, saya tak suka lah mama kan. Kawan saya tu dia asyik ambil barang saya je. So macam mana kita nak regulate emosi pada anak itu? Kan? Balik kan? Takutlah mama saya pergi ni kan. Teacher asyik macam ni je. Kata alah awak je tu ngada-ngada je tu. Kita pula macam tu. Tak memberi langsung, tak meregulasi langsung emosi anak. Anak tu dia cerita benda yang dia rasa. Kita tak acknowledge. Itu yang jadinya lambat laun we we dysregulate their emotional. So emotional dysregulation. So this so yang kalau kata 2 tahun ni dia dah start rasa, dia dah start boleh berbincang, buat berbincang, mama macam ni, saya macam, contoh macam nak cakap lah, saya macam ni, dekat sekolah macam ni, saya buat macam ni je, cikgu tak suka. Pendek kata macam tu lah, tapi bukanlah umur 2 tahun cakap itu, tapi dia akan cakap, saya takut, kan, saya tak boleh nak buat apa-apa. So macam mana kita sebagai parents nak explore, nak memahami, nak memahamkan mereka, kan, nak bagi that assurance kepada anak itu. So ini it's form of communication. So this is the type of communication that allow the caregivers to help the child to regulate their emotions. Sangat-sangat penting, kan? Bayangkan tadi awal tadi kan ada gangguan sekejap, ada iklan sekejap, anak saya masuk, my bongsuan adik, dia masuk, dia tengah obses dengan stokin, kat rumah pun nak pakai stokin, nak cakap mama pantang je pakai stokin. So dia masuk, dia stokin hug tu, stokin favorite dia suka Incredible Hulk, my number 5 and 6. Langsung dia pakai tangan, so dia kata, mama, mana satu lagi? Lepas tu, bayangkan kalau I tengah bagi kuliah, kan? I know you are my priority, but anak I datang. If I could control my emotion, I cakap, boleh tak mama di kelas ni? Apa akan dia rasa? This is the reality. Right? Okay? Even kalau tengok kan, Mak Saleh yang mana yang Zoom meeting kan, anak datang selamba kan. Cuba yang kalau kita kan, memang dah habis budak tu kena marah, kena bang the door kan sebagainya. So that is part of pembentukan regulasi emosi pada anak. So pentingnya kita as a caregiver to have the self control actually, because nak boost up anak punya emotions, nak regulate anak punya emotions. So instead I did, okay kejap, cuba cari mama macam nampak kat katil, dia pun naik katil. Tu I explain, sekejap mama di kelas. Nanti pas mama ni, kalau mama cuba mama bagi kat adik. And then dia keluar senyum, okay mama. Bye, maknanya dengan merelakan mama dia bekerja. Kalau tak, I marah dia tantrum, dia menangis, I pun stress, I akan jerit panggil bibi, tolong tengok adik ni kan. Dalam I marah-marah pun, kita dah biasa, selalu anak I pun kalau macam dia minta ni, bibi tolong, bibi tolong sekejap. So mesti, maknanya tolong, thank you tu, kita tanamkan daripada kecil. Tu saya nak ajar tu, it's the magic words we use. Perkenalkan kepada anak-anak. Alright, so these are some activities lah. Ataupun jangan ingat kita jadi HIIT training, kita jadi Zumba ke apa. So actually this it is beneficial to self-regulate jugalah. Frog jumps kan, lompat katak, jalan itik, jalan beruang, jalan kuda. So benda tu kan sambil macam tu. Alright. So bila dia berjalan, exercise ataupun bermain, kita regulate. Ataupun bila dalam dia bermain, dia terlanggar yang adik-adik sebelah, dah jadi marah. Macam, okay, so kita distract, okay good, but nanti kena careful. So banyak activities that we can do together in order to empower dia punya regulation emotions pada anak. Alright, so temperament. Saya percaya semua dah pernah dengar temperament kan? So do you get upset a lot? So check balik. Ada tak orang tak ada sebab, dia sedih je, dia senang upset. Kan? So bila senang upset ni budak ni jenis macam mana? Macam tak happy je kan, macam ada benda tak kena je. So kita nampak benda tu. It cannot be hidden. Memang nampak. So does it take much to get you angry or to make you laugh? Which one are you? You dalam kategori mana? You senang nak, benda sikit je senang nak marah, senang nak sentap, senang nak snap, ataupun you always like enjoying life. Macam benda sikit, okay, it's the thing that makes me smile macam tu kan. So we are the one yang kita tahulah kita macam mana. So temperament is an individual's behavioural style and characteristic. Mana kisah saya ni? Okay, good. So, temperament is an individual's behavioral style and characteristic way of emotionally responding. How fast do you respond to any events that will make you angry? If you keep calm, kan macam saya cakap tadi kan? So that is temperament. Each one of us berbeza And berbeza bergantung kepada personality, bergantung kepada kita punya karakter, kita punya pengalaman, upbringing, parenting, style that we receive, semua yang membentuk kita punya temperament. So Chas and Thomas classifications of this temperament mengatakan anak ni terklasifikasi mengikut 3 kumpulan, iaitu easy child. Hijau ni. Okay, so easy child ni senang lah. Oh, baby ni good lah, easy child lah dia ni kan. Tidur lepas makan, lepas menyusu, lepas tu tidur, lepas tu menyusu lagi tidur. Senang je easy child kan, tak banyak ragam, senang. So usually they have a positive mood, quickly establishes routines and easily adapts. Okay, the difficult child so reacts negatively and cries frequently, resists change and shows irregular behaviours. Dia akan cepat marah kalau rutin dia being tarnished. Macam sekejap-sekejap tukar, pindah sana, pindah sini, sekejap-sekejap hantar rumah pengasuh sana. Lepas tu tukar tempat tidur. So dia akan nak ambil masa nak adapt tu satu tamparan hebat buat anak-anak yang difficult child ni And another one is slow to warm up child. Lambat sikit dia pergi playground, dia tengok dulu kan, pandang kiri, pandang kanan, dia observe orang lain, kanak-kanak lain dah main dah. Dah mingle orang dah gelap, dia orang tak kenal pun sama. Tapi kita akan tengok satu atau dua watak kanak-kanak yang duduk dia nak main. Tapi bila dia tengok dah start to warm, dia baru okay. So setapak lama tengok anak aku dah boleh main dengan orang. So macam tu lah. And then from low mood intensity, low activity levels, and somewhat to negative, so it changes, right? Okay, so these are all temperament. Mana yang ini, mana yang ini anak Mak Saleh dia macam surprise, good mood. Ni anak ni mak dia pun dulu Mak Saleh jugalah pernah digelar. Ni anak nombor 5 ID. So he was like 8 months I think, and baju dia pakai tu was baju Adam masa Adam setahun. Ingat lagi nak beli baju tu, kami dulu susah kan, kita pesan sampai sekarang kita fikir balik. Susah kan sayang, kita nak beli baju yang gantung-gantung ni mahal kan? Baju yang bandel-bandel je kita mampu. At that time bila fikir balik lah, I mean like we always talk about this like the struggles and the challenges and me working and all of us working and me studying waktu I dapat Adam, I buat my masters, I practical di HUKM, memang it was like hell for me. Kan 1 year of masters practical, nak jumpa patient, kita nak formulate case patient, kita pun ada masalah. So bayangkan, but now bila tengok macam ni, Allah Akbar. So this, insyaAllah you will go through this. This is what we call as it's a roller coaster in life. So you need these feelings lah to boost you up, to motivate you. Okay, selingan lah tadi Alright, so personality development. Personality is the enduring characteristic of individuals, of which emotions and temperament are key aspects. So central to personality development is trust and the development of self and independence. Ini saya tak ulas lanjut lah, dia lebih kepada Erikson. So you need to build that trust in you, in people around you, and also in the environment. And then when trust, so dia akan membentuk juga kepada pembentukan kendiri, self-esteem, self-esteem, self-confidence, segala yang self lah, self-control. So this is the central part of the pembentukan personality. And then Erikson's trust versus mistrust stage. So trust and mistrust. Okay. Right. Tengok gambar ni kan. Tengok dia cermin. Cute kan tengok baby kan. So sense of self. So real or imagined. The sense of self is a strong motivating force. So self-recognition, self-understanding about 15 to 18 months of age. So often tested using the mirror technique. Dia akan pegang-pegang. Menarik bila tengok kan. Kalau dapat mak yang tak boleh tengok ada tompok-tompok jari, jangan risau. Novex ada. Saya bukan konsultan Novex Okay, Novex dia masih belum terbuka pintu hati saya. Ramai juga ada approach. Dia kata saya ada maid saya kan pakai spray tu, merah luka tu, pakailah okey je. Kalau I tak ada maid, mungkin I belilah Novex kot sebab I kata magic So but again, dapat mak yang mungkin mak ayah yang OCD, anak tu mungkin dia tak boleh nak explore all this sense of self. But this is the main antara aktiviti yang memberi impact kepada anak. So dia kenal, dia tahu itu orang lain. Tengok anak saya azan pula. Nak buka puasa kot ni. So dia tahu so object permanent sebagainya kan, peekaboo, and then late in the second year, naik 2 tahun, so toddlers show other emerging forms of self-awareness. So that reflects a sense of me. So including referring to themselves by saying big me. So dia akan nampak perubahan kan. Ataupun cuba you tengok balik kalau kata anak-anak buah bila start, oh saya ni saya punya. So this is when part of the sense of self. So ada, oh ni saya punya mainan, oh ni abang punya, abang buat macam ni kan. So abang boleh buat, nanti abang ni bagi abang buat. So dia dah develop. So this is part of the personality development. Okay, and then labeling internal experiences such as emotions, self-monitoring by saying, I can do it myself mama, don't worry kan. Adik cuba buat, adik boleh nak pakai baju sendiri, semualah nak buat sendiri. And claiming objects as their own. So this is the sense of self punya. It's when started to build during this stage. Okay, so independence. Penting. Tadi daripada sense of self and then mula trust, lepas tu sense of self and then independence. So independence also become more central. Okay, semua nak buat sendiri. So separations, the infant's movement away from the mother. So dia dah start ada rasa dia entity yang kuat. Cuba ni berbalik kepada teori Erik Erikson the autonomy versus shame and doubt kan. And then individuation, so the development of self. So Erikson's second stage, okay. So autonomy builds with mental and motor abilities, and infants feel pride in their new accomplishment. So when caregivers are impatient and do for toddlers what they are capable of doing for themselves, shame and doubt develop. So social orientations, understanding. So according to Ross Thompson, infants show strong interest in the social world and are motivated to orient to it and understand. Okay, penting orientasi sosial. So infants are captivated by social world. Young infants stare intently at faces. Dia akan pandang kan. Kalau mungkin kita bawa anak-anak ke jumpa ataupun kat luar kan, dia akan macam pandang kan, if that interests him so much. Alright. So, and are attuned to the sounds of humans' voices, especially those of their caregivers. So later they become adept at interpreting the meaning of facial expression, and from early in their development, infants have a social interaction. So face-to-face often begins to characterize caregiver-infant interactions when infant is about 2 to 3 months of age. So the focus waktu ni, okay, may include vocalization, dah cam suara, pegang muka, mungkin bila kita hantar kat caregiver, hantar pagi-pagi tu anak tu dah pegang dulu, betul tak ni Makcik Leha? Betul lah Makcik Leha yang jaga. Kan, so dia akan have this social interaction kan, and then dengan suara, kadang bau pun juga, it creates that sense of social interaction and gestures, so it creates positive emotional states pada anak itu. So infants come to expect people to react positively when the infants initiate to a behavior. Okay. So locomotion, crawl, walk and run is important to independence, definitely kan. Jangan lari, nanti jatuh. Kan, habis tu anak tu tak lari, bila tak lari jumpa doktor, anak saya ni dia tak boleh, susah, saya tak tahu kenapa dia tak boleh berlari. Cuba tengok waktu kita kecil-kecil kot, waktu anak tu kecil, dia nak lari sikit, jangan, bahaya, terus angkat. Macam mana nak develop dia punya locomotor skills kan, right? That's why penting. So allows the infant to independently initiate social interchanges on a more frequent basis. So intention, goal-directed behavior and cooperation are important to cognitive development. Okay, bila mana dia mengambil risiko untuk memanjat tangga ataupun untuk bermain rumble rough play, kan? So dia it develops also dia punya cognitive development. So dia punya social orientation. So bila dia tahu dia sakit, it gives a strong message kepada dia, and it makes them think, okay, I shouldn't, tak boleh, sini tempat ni bahaya. So benda tu yang dia kata penting perlu kita terapkan pada anak-anak, right? So social referencing is the ability to read the the emotional cues of others to help determine how to act in a specific situation. So help infants interpret ambiguous situations more accurately, and infants become better at social referencing by 2 years age. Okay, so this is about attachment. Okay, saya rasa mungkin dah apa yang you belajar dengan di kuliah, apa tu? Kuliah psikologi perkembangan tentang attachment, close emotional bond. Kalau ikut Freud, infants become attached to the person or object that provides oral satisfaction. Itu yang datang psychosexual stages tu kan, development. So this approved somehow by Halos, so which show that physical comfort is preferred for security. Right. So meanwhile, Erickson kata physical comfort and sensitive care are key to establishing a basic sense of trust that is the foundation for attachment. Okay, so this is according to Bowlby's ethological perspective. So ada 4 phases for attachment, attachment theory. So attachment is an innate predisposition that develops in a series of phases. Kalau phase pertama daripada 0 to 2 months. So waktu ini infants are instinctively drawn to humans. So strangers, siblings and parents are equally like to elicit smiling or crying from the infant. So phase 2, 2 bulan ke 7 bulan, attachment becomes focused on one person. Dia ada attachment to one person only. So selalunya dia punya main caregiver. And the baby gradually learns to distinguish familiar from unfamiliar people. So dia dah start kenal adik-beradik pengasuh dia dan sebagainya kan. Start. And then phase 3, from 7 to 24 months, sehingga ke 2 tahun, specific attachment develop. So with increased locomotor skills, infants actively seek regular contact with caregivers. So phase 4, from 24 months on, children become aware of other feelings, goals and plans and take them into account, informing their own actions, right? 2 years onwards. Okay, so this is the individual differences in attachment. Okay, kalau you Google je, tengok experiment, a classic of Mary Ainsworth. So created the strange situation whereby they put this child pada bilik yang berbeza-beza, ada dia punya caregiver, tak ada caregiver, ada stranger, bagaimana dia berinteraksi. Kan? Ada yang easy child, mungkin dia tak kisah. Difficult child, dia akan terus menangis kan. So Mary Ainsworth ni dia melakukan suatu kajian pemerhatian, observational measure of an infant attachment, which infant experiences a series of introductions. Okay, diperkenalkan, okay ni ada orang, dia nampak orang, and then mak dia keluar pintu, keluar, tutup, so berlaku separations. And then waktu separation tu kalau easy child dia tak kisah, difficult child dia akan meraung. Kalau slow to warm tu dia akan stare, pandang, and nangis sikit kan. And then bila dia masuk balik, so kalau easy child kadang dia tak kisah mak dia masuk sebab dia rasa selamat. And difficult child bila mak dia masuk terus dia menangis, dia terkam mak dia. Itu attachment And kalau yang slow to warm up, of course lah dia akan pergi kat mak dia. Tetapi with mungkin a slight cry, cakap ni mama ni kenapa tinggalkan I, macam tu sebenarnya dia nak cakap. Right? So as they classified based on how they respond. So ada securely attached, ada insecure avoidant, ada insecure resistant and insecure disorganized. So kalau securely attached ni is a positive, confident exploration. So those yang have this insecure avoidant type, so they have little interaction with caregiver but no distress. Kan? So insecure resistant clings to caregiver and then resist. And those insecure disorganized and disoriented, we out of context lah. Okay, cuba kita tengok ni. Cannot play media juga. Nanti saya akan post di UKM Folio untuk anda tengok dan bincangkanlah bila ada saya bertanya soalan. Okay. Okay, socio-emotional development infancy, the family. Family ni saya tak payah sebut lagi lah, dah sebut sebelum ni ataupun waktu kuliah ni awal tadi. The family is very important. We are the one that also create ataupun carve anak ini punya perkembangan kognitif, perkembangan socio-emosi anak-anak tu. Right? So father and child represent one subsystem, mother and father another, and mother, father, child represent one system. Kalau tengok macam mana kan, macam mana anak-anak ni selalu bila mungkin gender differences, mungkin anak ayah ni dia kurang sangat bermain dengan anak, tapi bila dia main, a quality play in terms of engagement dengan anak tu punya intensity kelak kan, main sorok-sorok, main kuda-kuda, main hantu-hantu, kejar sana kejar sini. So benda tu adalah momen yang anak itu tak akan lupakan kan. Kita sampai sekarang masih kita ingat lagi. Ingat tak dulu kalau kuda, the first kuda yang kita naik was kuda ayah kita. Kan? Ingat tak? So benda tu yang mungkin ada yang masih lagi terngiang-ngiang, ternampak-nampak kelibat kan. So kalau mak ni dia ada dengan kita tapi kurangnya roughly sebab kita mak-mak ni kadang banyak benda kita nak fikir. Betul tak? Kan sambil nak main kuda macam tak ikhlas pula nak main kuda sebab fikir Allah aku nak masak apa ni. Nak keluar apa benda dekat fridge ni kan. Kadang buka fridge termenung tengok apa benda nak keluar. So mungkin kita punya peranan yang sangat banyak multitasking ni menyebabkan kita kurangnya nak ada engagement yang berkualiti dengan anak. Tetapi sebenarnya ni those are the factors that betul-betul menguatkan lagi lah dan menjadikan insyaAllah anak kita seseorang yang kita nak. Okay, so in terms of family juga ini berkait dengan marital satisfaction, marital relationships, parenting. So if you see this marital relationship and also parenting and also child behavior and development semuanya berkait. So if you have a good marital relationship between you and your spouse, okay, insyaAllah your parenting skills will be aligned, will be synchronized. Dan bila alignnya ataupun baiknya parenting styles being adept and being adept dalam budaya rumah itu, dalam ahli keluarga itu, insyaAllah tingkah laku yang dipertontonkan ataupun yang diperlihatkan oleh anak itu dia selari dengan apa yang dilalui oleh ibu, oleh ayah dan juga keluarga itulah. Okay, so maka kalau kata the parents is not in a good state ataupun good condition, so mungkin parenting might be conflict between each other, right? So mungkin anak itu akan develop any kind of misbehavior ataupun tantrum ataupun different temperament. Alright, so direct effect is the influence of the parents' behavior on the child. Simple lah macam tadi. But indirect effect is how the relationship between the spouse mediates the way a parents act toward the child. Saya baru kata tadi, kan, beza mungkin clash of parenting ataupun bila kita tak baik kan, so mungkin subjek objek itu anak itu membuat satu yang against apa yang di pandangan ayah dia, but mak dia setuju, so mungkin boleh jadi perbalahan dekat situ. Sebabnya ada konflik between these two adult, but again it affect apa yang telah dibuat oleh anak itu, right? And for example, marital conflict might reduce the efficiency of parenting, indeed. So in which case, marital conflict will indirectly affect the child's behavior. Alright. The family. So in the transition to parenthood, okay, ni ilmu untuk you all lah nanti insyaAllah. So parents must adapt new restrictions on partners, time, finances. So marital satisfaction decreases after birth for many because it's the hormonal changes. Sebab tu bila lepas bersalin, because of usually the woman will encounter this tremendous hormonal changes. Bila mana yang hormon baik, hormon yang untuk segala keperluan lah, segala keperluan dan kehendak tu dia masih lagi tengah mingle around macam tu. So usually akan affect kepada relationship, akan affect kepada hubungan hubungan suami isteri dan sebagainya. So kalau mana yang tak faham tu akan jadi konflik. So if one understand that okay, these are the transition that will be faced by the wife, dan insyaAllah akan jadi harmoni. Okay, so parental cooperation has positive effects for many for parents and children. Okay, so ingat parental cooperation, bila anak tu makin besar, kita kena tahu demands, dia orang punya challenges tu berbeza. Sebab tu parenting kita kena inline. Kalau kata tak setuju pun mungkin ayahnya keras sedikit, tapi bila anak tu mengalami masalah mungkin tak dapat pergi ke ayah, dia akan pergi ke mak untuk mak nak compensate balik. Itu penting. Dia tak boleh dua-dua keras, tak boleh pun dua-dua macam relax, lamba, manja, apa tu pun tak kisah. So kesannya akan jadi lain. Alright. So itu siapa tu? Itu adalah saya 13 tahun lepas bersama anak sulung saya kan. Nah, jangan tanya mana saya punya keruncingan ke tu semua tu, semua saya pun tak tahu pergi mana. Okay? Alright, so reciprocal socialization. It has to be reciprocal lah. And also dalam konteks ini kita kena of course reciprocal, and then children socialize parents just as parents socialize children. So in fact kita jangan rasa anak yang kena faham kita, but also kita pun kena faham anak. Itu bila dalam konteks anak tu besar kan. But dalam konteks anak-anak ni dalam fasa membesar, so it's a reciprocal relationship. So dalam proses ini dia melibatkan banyak proses scaffolding. Kalau anda tengok kan, scaffolding is those yang mana kalau apa tu, you pergi ke mana-mana construction yang mana besi yang dia naik-naik tu, that is one example of scaffolding. So we always accommodate, we always adjust the level of guidance to fit the child's performance. Kalau kata anak cuba nak completekan, mama saya tak boleh buat macam ni. So with minimal guidance and tunjuk ajar, kita tunjuk je sikit, oh okay tahu, and then dia boleh buat. So kita always give this practice this scaffolding untuk anak supaya anak lebih confidence untuk deliver the task given ataupun apa yang dia minat, dia lebih seronok ke arah membuat sesuatu benda yang dia suka. And then parents manage and guide infants' behaviour, so including child proofing and the environment and using corrective methods. So ini juga antara cabaran kalau kata ibu bapa tu jenis yang paranoid, mungkin jenis yang semua tak boleh, semua yang nanti kalau buat ni apa kata ni. So banyak sangat yang terlalu memikirkan apa kata masyarakat, so anak itu tidak akan boleh develop dengan baik. Develop dari segi socioemotional, develop dari segi keberanian, dari segi kebergantungan, berdikari dia, semua akan terjejas. Alright. So positive parental behavior supports children's efforts, okay, especially as children's skills increase. Okay, ini yang jalan itulah, dah tengok kan? Okay, parents method for managing and correcting infants undesirable behavior. Ni kalau kajian dia menunjukkan between 12 to 24 months, kebanyakan yang diguna spank with hand, slap infant's hand, yell in anger. These are the things yang can dysregulate emosi anak-anak. Kalau boleh, it's good. Bukan it's good. Somehow you need any one of this, kan? Tetapi with it must be appropriate. Jangan, even dalam Islam pun, kalau Nabi kata kalau nak rotan tu di mana, kan? So ada tempat-tempat dia. Alright? So this is about reinforcement, positive, negative, punishment dan sebagainya. So mothers and fathers as caregivers. So in general, mothers still spend considerably more time in caregiving than do fathers. Yes, betul. Mak yang banyak meluangkan masa dengan ayah. Tetapi fathers have the ability to care for the infants as sensitively and responsively as mothers do. In fact, more. Maknanya dari segi play tadi. So maternal interactions usually center of childcare activities, and paternal interactions are more likely to include play. Okay, childcare tak baca lah. Okay, tak zaman bila tak update. Thank you. So I have gone through all this. Dan ini anak bongsu saya ni pun dah 3 tahun, dah masuk ke fasa manusia yang kedua. So with that, I thank all of you for your commitment and your attention. Yeah? Alright. So, any questions?
Doktor, saya ada soalan. Okay, kalau macam okay, budak-budak yang bukanlah speech delay, yelah dia start cakap lambat sikit. How could we relate that to parents tu sendiri who are not expressive and they don't talk that much? Because I belajar yang kalau you nak anak you cakap, you kena ulang-ulang dengan dia. But kalau parents tu jenis bukan macam tu. So disebabkan tu anak tu cakap lambat, dan for that reason anak tu didiagnose as autistic. Because of that. So adakah budak tu actually autistic or just speech delay because of parents tak reactive?
Okay, alright. Macam tadi saya cakap dalam kelas tadi, one case yang being referred to me sebab anak dia flow. Actually nenek dia yang refer pada I. Mungkin anak dia tu, kira makcik ni dia tak tahu anak dia aware ke tak. Tapi dia tahu yang anak dia ni memang pendiam. Bukan budak ni dia refer cucu dia. Dia tanya saya. So tanya macam mana, dia kata memang communication mak ayah dia ni memang sangat minimum. Cakap bila perlu je. Abang makan. Dah kenyang. Bukan tanya sedap. So apatah lagi. So very minimal. Tapi anak tu towards yang bercakap pun ada isu, ada delay. So I pun I cakap okay lah, tak apa. You can consult any speech therapist. Tapi bila kita tengok macam any ada development, kalau autism clear cut lah. Memang dia punya interaction, eye contact dan sebagainya. Tapi budak ni dia tak ada. It's just macam delay in terms of speech. And dia kalau nak dia still lagi. Kan? So vocab tu tak diperkayakan, tak diperkukuhkan lagi. So itu yang saya kata first step, okay, you buat appointment dulu jumpa pakar, speech therapist, but at the same time, I tegur cara mereka suami isteri berkomunikasi. Bukan berkomunikasi dengan mereka je tapi dengan anak. Bukan dengan anak tapi dengan mereka tu. So kata, if you want to see any good changes pada anak, you guys need to change. I cakap macam tu je. Kalau tak, at the end result, you akan tanggunglah semua benda ni. Kos rawatan, masa, intervention, in fact anak tu punya masa depan. So they change. Nanti kata boleh, bila dia start tu bercakap, simple things start to discuss. Sebab kadang orang ni kita malam nak cakap, alah pam-pam sendiri je lah, alah cakap pun tak guna kan, buat stress je. Tu yang jadi banyak muted. So tak boleh, it's not healthy for the kids punya perkembangan. Kan?
Right. Because it's somebody that I know. Memang parents dia jadi macam tu lah. And even the mother, the parents both lah, are not that affectionate, you know, like bila anak dia datang peluk, dia just macam okay, daripada kecil tau, daripada kecil they just not that kind of person. Kita kalau anak kita datang lari, kita peluk, kita belai, kita ni kan, they're just not like that. So anak dia tu pun jadi very awkward with touch. Tengok tu budak tu, ya Allah. With touch. So budak tu hanya bukan setakat speech sahaja, in terms of bonding with people pun is a little bit awkward. Like when we macam kita salam ke kan, budak lain kita salam, okay, give me a hug ke apa ke macam tu kan. He is not like that. He becomes very macam dia macam bagi kepala je. Macam tu, kita nak hug ke apa, dia bagi kepala je. And also they do go to speech therapy. And memang samalah macam doktor cakap, speech therapist tu kata you need to change the way you communicate with your child. And they are sending him for, sorry yes sayang, sekejap. He's in the toilet, the shower. Okay, so so because of that they diagnose him as mildly autistic, which I can see dia macam disrupt dia punya macam dari segi makan pun doktor, dia hanya makan Oreo dan muruku sahaja, literally nothing else. So benda tu macam ada tak kaitan dari segi speech, lepas tu dari segi itulah attention tu kan, berlayan, dia memang akan result in those things ke, ataupun memang itu adalah autistic punya spectrum?
Kalau kata tu dia ada that autism spectrum lah. Kalau choosing food kan, ada the same food, same pattern. Mungkin boleh tengok cara dia bermain. Rotation wise, spiral thingy. Kan dia ada kan, kalau tahu autism ni, dia punya 3 main deficits in 3 component kan. So kalau types of play tu pun, dia spiral, lepas tu susunan dia, lepas tu dia yang jelas stereotype behavior lah, flapping, macam ni kan, itu jelas. Tapi kalau yang mild ni, you can tell lah, kalau kata bila you cakap food tu, mungkin ada element of sebab tu autism dia, nama dia ASD kan, autism spectrum disorder, because kita tak tahu dia which spectrum, dia luas. Tu kuliah lain lah kuliah ni. Okay, alright, but anyway, thanks for sharing. Any questions from the floor? Macam forum pula
Doktor, saya nak tanya pasal good assignment boleh?
Boleh Hana, nak tanya apa?
Saya tanya untuk video, semua ahli kena berada dalam video tu ke?
Kalau boleh, kalau muat video tu lah.
Okay. Lepas tu soalan kedua, laporan minimum dan maksimum muka surat.
Laporan minimum, maksimum 15 page ya.
Okay. Minimum doktor?
Oh minimum, tak letak satu pula. 10 ke 15.
Okay, thank you doktor.
Okay. Soalan pula. Assignment tugas individu saya belum boleh bagi lagi sebab it's on remaja pun kan. InsyaAllah I tahu kalau I bagi tu you can do it, you can deliver it accordingly lah. So don't not to worry, jangan risau. Okay, insyaAllah akan diberi. Okay. So kalau tak ada apa-apa, kita jumpa minggu depan. Ni dah week 4 kan?